Good morning, YouTube. March 8, 2019, week 41 of my journey with Schneider National. So, let's go ahead and just start from the beginning. Monday, I picked up my rollover from Friday, grabbed my trailer, and took it to where it had to go in South Carolina. And it was a live unload. Didn't take long at all. I made my appointment time just barely by the skin of my teeth. I didn't realize that Charleston was going to be so backed up. I might have left 10 minutes earlier, but I did have 17 minutes of leeway time or something when I started my trip, according to my GPS, which is usually fairly accurate on what time I'm going to get there. And I got there with, I don't know, I think a minute or two to spare. So my ETA on my time was perfect. Made my appointment. It all worked out, which is good because they're one of our major customers. I don't think they really cared though, but because the guy, usually dock workers, they don't notice stuff like that. I'm sure people inside the office notice it more than we do. So I dropped that, and I already had an assignment picking up in South Carolina and going to Kentucky, which worked out. The South Carolina load was about 70 miles from where I dropped. It was a live load. Grabbed it, barely had enough time to make it to a truck stop that day, even though I only drove for 7.5 hours. It ended up being 9.5 hours on duty, but there was also some time off duty there for sitting around waiting to get loaded. The guy took 2 hours, or an hour and 50 minutes at my pickup after the first drop to actually take care of me because he was all alone in the building. And it was around lunchtime when I got there. I guess everybody was at lunch. So, but it worked out. Tuesday, I dropped my Monday load Tuesday morning. It was a live unload, and got another assignment in Indiana around the corner, which was maybe 40 miles away. Went and grabbed that. It was a drop and hook, so I dropped my empty. That was a weird place. You had to go into one building that was listed on the thing, on the Qualcomm, or the tablet. Had to go in there, check in with them. They told me to go next door because that's where it was, at a food warehouse, a bunch of canned goods, and that's where my trailer was. So I had to go there, park almost a quarter mile or so away from the building that you had to check in at, and then go back to your truck and pull up after they tell you where you got to go, and then go around the other side of the building and check in with shipping and receiving. So yeah, that was a joke, but I grabbed it. Had icicles all the way down the side of one side of my trailer, like it had sat underneath dripping water or something. It was like 15 degrees over there. I'm from the south. That was cold. Yes, there are colder places. I don't care. That was cold to me. I was freezing. It wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't for the wind chill. It didn't bother me that much, except when the wind was blowing. So I grabbed that trailer and booked it. I was trying to get further down the road, but because all that walking I had to do, it took too much time with them checking me in everywhere to actually get further down the road where I wanted to get to. So I had to stop at a truck stop about 30 minutes from my pickup. So delays. But I got that trailer and headed on out Wednesday morning, which took pretty much almost all day to get to where I was going, which was Walmart, and then grabbed another one, a good deadhead, which is riding with an empty trailer about 150 miles to California cartage to grab another trailer to go to Target. So I took off. I was about 3 hours out when I made my drop, and parked at a truck stop about 2 hours out. Got up in the morning. I had to replace a trailer light. One of the lights was out on the trailer, and I went and bought one for $30 in the truck stop and filed an expense ticket. You can do that. I'm actually going to go get some spare bulbs and headlights and stuff next time I stop in an operations center, because they will supposedly give you those in case you run into problems like that. Because we had one of our drivers who sat for 3 hours waiting to get them to replace a cab light. I don't know if I could do that. This stuff looks like it's all covered up in here. And climbing that high up on this truck, I don't know if I can do that. But the side marker lights and all that are very easy. So I swapped out the trailer light, worked fine, and ran and dropped my load the next day and picked up the next one at Cali Cartage, 2 hours away, and then headed to Target in South Carolina. And here I sit. So I got there and they said there was one empty left. There was originally a pickup empty on my assignment. That got removed. There was an empty there when I got there. Called my DBL, said, "Look, man, there's an empty here." He said, "No, just go park and we'll let you know." I miscalculated my time. I said I was only going to have an hour left. I had maybe 2.5 hours left of drive time. But freight is soft over here, Southeast market supposedly. So I sat and got nothing. And I'm still here. And it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I presume I'll have something soon, but like I said before, it takes them a while to get you a trip home sometimes, because they got to work something out. I hope I don't have another layover one. But all in all, I mean, it's been a good week. Just for example, I drove 7.5 hours Monday. I drove 10 hours Tuesday. I drove 10 hours Wednesday. I drove 7.5 hours on Thursday. I've only had 3 trips this week, but they've been good paying trips, because they had a lot of miles on them. I mean, I went 360, 546, 567, and 430 for a total of 1,903 paid miles, 1,942 logged miles. My assignments this week were approximately 1,705 miles so far, plus I'm going to guess about 140 to 200 to get me home. There was a difference. Actual miles was 1,750. So there was a 45-mile difference, as in pay-wise, because of the highway mileage they pay by, not the practical miles. Now, 45 miles isn't really that much. That might be $10. But if you consider $10 a week, okay, and I don't have the end of this week, but if it, let's say $10 a week or $20 a week. So $10 a week is $520 a year. $20 a week is $1,040 a year that you're not getting paid for. So you can make a little bit more money if you're working with somebody else. I've seen people say that the grass isn't greener just because they make you promises and stuff with these other companies. I'm not going anywhere. I have no reason to go anywhere. I mean, I'd like to, but I'm really, really close to my 52-week mark, so I don't plan on going anywhere. Pay is decent when I'm running, and my DBL knows I'll run. So, I mean, why else would I be getting these 500-mile trips? I'm booking it. Keep your left door closed and keep the hammer down.